We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are.
Hey everybody, welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. It's episode 78, and of course with me are my two good friends and co-hosts, Mr. John Tracy, Mr. Illinois Smith 2024. I am Matt Craig. We are all happy you are here and along for the ride. John, how you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing great, except for that little Zoom thing that popped up that said I'm being watched.
God, really? You got that kind of a message? That's crazy.
It's different from the ones before.
Oh my gosh. Okay, look out over there.
Is it something I said?
I don't know. Something you said, yes. And of course, we also have a presidential candidate, Illinois Smith 2024. How you doing, man? What's going on?
My vote.
Before I answer that question, I have been advised by my legal team to read a disclaimer statement, if you don't mind.
Oh, not at all. Go ahead. Yeah.
Do not try what you are about to see at home. We have trained professionals to help keep us safe. Wait.
That's episode 80. We need to get rid of that.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Tell the people about that now.
Hold on. All right, here we go. I wasn't in Chicago that night. 15 people verified it. No, that's my papers are.
What the heck?
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. That's not even the right file. What?
Oh, for God's sakes!
All right, I found it.
Dr. IP must be doing something there. I don't know.
I apologize. Here we go. The views and opinions expressed by Illinois Smith are his own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Mr. Murray, Mr. Craig, or Mr. Tracy, or the two noobs in general.
Yay! Now that insurance / lawyer boilerplate is out of the way.
got our message from our lawyers.
Exactly. Love it. So, guys, here we are, episode 78. Who wore it, right? Who wore the episode number in the city of Philadelphia? Well, the turnstile wore it, John. Sorry. He wore it. It's terrible.
Is that consecutive episodes for him?
It's back to back.
It is.
I was stunned. I was like, what?
So.
Yeah. Terrible. And then we had Broderick Bunkley, who wore it.
What a big neck.
Decent tackle. Decent.
The man had a large neck. I mean, I got to call it out. It was huge.
It was massive.
He was thick.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
Greasy.
And of course, like on the Flyer side, we had Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, who wore it, alongside somebody else who wasn't, present with him.
No, he wasn't paired. He was not paired with anyone.
He was so fast. He was so fast at penalty kill. He did it all by himself.
He was the first player to ever plan a defense pairing by himself.
Exactly.
He was a good penalty killer. He was what you like in a fourth line guy, and he, from all accounts, was a good guy in the locker room. I was sad to see him go in the expansion draft to Vegas. That was a sad day. I was hoping somebody else would have been picked over him, but
No doubt.
good for him. He got a Stanley Cup run out of it that first year, and as I understand it, he's kind of moved around to good teams. So he after Vegas, I think he went to Colorado, and I believe he's with Tampa now.
Crazy career. Wow.
Good for him.
Yeah, just awesome stuff.
Good
Then,
guy.
of course, we also had Hollis Thomas wore it, and Hollis was a great defensive tackle, John. I mean, right? I mean, at the end of the day, just one of the better defensive tackles. Paired alongside Corey Simon. 1-2 there, right? Just
Hollis
a great
is 100% Philadelphia.
Yeah.
People even rooted for him when he played for the Saints for that 1 year in 2006.
That's right. I forgot.
Everybody was still like checking up on him until he got suspended for PEDs, which is hilarious. Because that man, ate some PEDs, but they were probably in something else he was eating.
No. Yeah, but he was a great player. He made a huge stop in the NFC Championship game on Michael Vick early in the game.
Hasted Michael Vick.
Love that play.
Had to peel him off the link floor.
It was awesome. Just a great tackle. Stopped him cold. Caused the Falcons only kick a field goal at that point. And we never looked back, really, at that point in the game. So that was huge. It was a massive play. We just absolutely love Hollis for sure. For sure. So, gents, well, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and hit our first topic. It's on everybody's mind.
With apologies
it's the
that we have
slap
to cover
heard
it.
around the world. I don't know what else to say.
No,
Than I think it is. You guys have convinced me. It is a 100% work.
Yeah, work or shoot. That's what we're talking here.
Yeah, let's do it, Johnny. I mean, what are your thoughts on all of this whole thing with Will Smith and Chris Rock? What the heck?
It's a work.
Yeah.
100% work. You don't slap someone and then yell at them. You yell at them and then slap somebody.
Yeah.
That's the escalation of the argument. That's Exhibit 1. William Regal did it a couple weeks ago. Hollywood does nothing original. I mean, I could go on and on. I have plenty of Chris Rock's tour just started 3 days after.
Yeah.
He's now selling tickets for $100 instead of $25 because he fell off years and years ago.
Amazing.
Revived his career.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 100% work. The thing that aggravates me is how bad of a work it was,
Mm-hmm.
and how, if they even thought this was gonna go right, it went sideways.
Big time.
They
Totally misread the room.
Yeah.
They misread everything.
Yeah.
It went sideways. I mean, Will stepping down will soften the blow a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but the blowback they got from this was more morally than it was shocking event.
Yeah. That was probably the biggest thing for me on the moral side of things. Was like, I mean, it was stunning. Literally was absolutely stunning to see the blowback and reaction. I think it had been coming that way. You know, if you think about it, really, the Oscars haven't really been relevant in the United States in the last, 20, 25 years, maybe longer than that.
I would say longer.
And it's like their ratings have been declining, but going down the bucket, and it hit like rock bottom in 2020, 2021. It did go up a little bit, but like, what else is there? There's not much going on. It used to be a big deal, obviously, and now it's nothing. And now there's this huge controversy over this entire slap, and should Will Smith give up his Oscar, and should he be canceled and all that kind of stuff. Steve, what are your thoughts on it, What do you think?
Well, I don't have a toothpick, so I'll put this pen and go full Scott Hall on the Montreal screw job.
Let's go it.
Total work. Total work. I agree with you. For all the reasons you just said, I have to believe the Academy was in on it. They saw their ratings going down. They needed to get some buzz. They came up with this impromptu idea. I don't think they thought it through completely. I think it was half-assed.
This was not a thought out move.
No, this was not a well thought out move. And I think they're getting the blowback that they deserve from not thinking it through. They got, honestly, they did get what they wanted, right? Because Monday morning, what was everybody talking about?
Everybody's talking about the slap around the world. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
At the Oscars.
Yeah.
Right.
The Oscars got what they needed. They got the Oscars in the name, but
right.
Will Smith lost big time on this because a lot of people, many comedians took a stand on this, that he did something that it's not safe to do.
Yeah.
Because is it now in the age of the internet? Is it now cool to run up on stage and slap a comedian because he said something funny?
I mean, I can only think of like Joe Rogan, was like, this is not good for comedians at all. It doesn't matter who you are. If someone is offended, do you have the Will Smith permission to go up and whack somebody across the face because you're insulted over someone that they say that's meant to be funny and goes by in like 30 seconds? It doesn't like.
I hope not, because that is the best kind of comedy.
Yeah.
And that Chris Rock thing, just to be clear, he was not roasting her at all. That was a very mild joke.
Yeah.
That was not even funny.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was too subtle.
Yeah, it was a weird 90s reference that I bet you most of the youth didn't even get.
Yeah.
Right over their heads.
It was directed at a basic generation.
It sure was.
Simple of those movies back in, like, it was not a full-on diss of her. It wasn't going after her for whatever reasons that this camp wants to say, or that kind of. It was a bad joke, and a beta male worked his way up there and did something.
Well, wasn't it awfully convenient? Wasn't it awfully convenient that he's sitting at the table, like, right next to the ramp.
Oh yeah.
So all he's got to do is just stand up, walk up the ramp,
I'll tell you
do his
one
thing, and come down.
It literally is like when you get nominated.
In on it, because that was some of the worst camera angles. If you watch it over again, you pick his shadow up before you even pick him up walking. Yeah. Chris Rock's reaction comes and you don't even know what he's reacting to. So if the TV was on it, they would have panned over. They would have shot it from the hard cam.
Yeah, it was amazing in the fact that really when you're like in the first couple of rows, you're nominated for like the top awards in the Academy.
There's no rows; they're sitting at tables.
But they're sitting at tables. Yeah,
like
that's my point. Yeah,
close enough.
So it's like, and it's almost like I've heard it said. A lot of comedians will be like, "That's an invitation for a comedian to basically say they're taking this way too seriously." The people that are being nominated, and it's like you have to like loosen the ultra seriousness of them by doing this, basically by roasting them. And so this was obviously it was a very poor joke. That's obviously by Chris Rock.
Hollywood 101 though, that's the whole thing. They do take themselves too seriously, and the whole point of us watching the show is the comedian.
Yeah.
Because that's why they put the comedian there. If they would have never ever got this thing on TV if you just had, industry standard white dude up there going, and the Oscar goes to, and the Oscar goes to, and the Oscar goes to. Nobody would have watched that.
There's a reason Billy Crystal hosted it like 10 billion times.
Yeah. And why he was so great at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And because you tune in for Billy Crystal and you see the Oscars.
Yeah.
And that's why they pay them so much. But it's a big stain on the art of comedy in doing this. And
no question.
I said to you guys in pre-production, it isn't the work that makes me. If it was just a work, and it was like a bit, and it came off funny, I'd had no issues. I would never watch the Oscars, but I'd been like, that was funny. This was so bad.
It was so bad. Yeah.
It went sideways.
Yeah.
And my wife, she found out Monday morning. She's like, "Oh, did you hear Will Smith smacked Chris Rock at the Oscars?" I'm like, "Are you serious? That sounds fake." Yeah. and when you stop to think about it, like, who was in on it? Chris Rock and Will Smith obviously were in on it. Yeah. I mean, Will Smith is laughing immediately after the slap. Like as his hand is coming down, he's got a smile on his face.
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith is laughing now that we know apparently during the slap. The Academy had to be in on it because, I mean, you've just had a guy who, if it's not fake, has just committed battery on live or semi-live TV, and you're not going to stop and
live, so it is live.
But
you're not going to stop and figure this out. You're not going to have some, hey, what's going on here? Chris Rock just carried on. It's just like, all right, here we go.
I would just say this though. My question to that in that regard, if they're in on it, they've got a code of conduct. They have like rules in place where you cannot do what Will Smith did. So how could they be in on it? You know what I mean? Like how could the Academy be in on it if they've got this code of conduct? Or they that desperate for ratings? Is my question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if it goes off well, okay, and there's no controversy, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's so funny! Will just cracked Chris across the face."
Yeah.
We're not even having this conversation about codes of conduct.
Yeah.
The code of conduct only came up after the blowback from the public, where they said, "This is awful. You just had an assault on live TV."
Yeah.
Comedians everywhere are now at risk for similar types of actions. Yeah. And like, oh shit. Well, we've got this code of conduct that he violated.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have somebody there to make sure the code of conduct was being adhered to during the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that would
the whole point of the code of conduct. The whole point of the code of conduct is everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and that it's enforced.
Yes.
At the time.
You're supposed to conduct yourself in a way because it's the bleeping Oscars.
Exactly.
Like, it's probably on your ticket. You probably get the Oscars is so bougie. You probably get a gold letter in the mail 3 weeks before that tells you can't wear pasty blue because this guy's wearing it, or this is happening, or this is like. I'm sure there's a million rules to it. You probably have to sign a contract.
Oh, sure.
I don't think this is just as off the cuff as the Oscars are trying to make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they have to be in on it. This is everything that's happened subsequently, Will Smith being forced to resign and from whatever it is that he's resigning from, and them talking about this code of conduct, it's all because of the reaction.
Yeah.
Now they have to clean it up. They thought they had something clever that was going to spike their ratings and get everybody talking. Well, we got everybody talking, but
and they did have a bump in the ratings, but it wasn't like a massive, like, oh, everybody's turning into the Oscars because this is Best Picture. This Best Picture is winning or whatever. It was.
I've never heard of the Best Picture, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. All they nominate is like movies you never even hear of anymore, and it's like, okay,
because most of the good movies are working outside of the motion picture society.
By the way, I did look it up. G.I. Jane was this movie came out in 1997, starred Demi Moore. Yeah. It had a $50 million budget, only grossed $48 million. So there you go.
Probably wasn't a good movie.
It was not good.
It was a very, very soft reference to a very, very, very not well named movie. I only know it because that was like the prime of going to the movies.
Yes.
In '97. That was when I went. It's when you used to go on dates and take someone to the movies and watch a movie.
God, that was 25 years ago, guys. Good.
Dude, that summer Face Off came out.
Yep.
That was an awesome movie. Yeah. I'm sure there were John's right. I think Air Force One came out that year too.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were some good popcorn movies that summer. Yeah. So G.I. Jane, I think, was just kind of subsumed by better things.
Hey, outside of Morgan Freeman, is Harrison Ford a very good president? What do you think? I mean, real quick. Would he was on Air Force One, obviously.
I don't know. You bringing it up now and me not having a reaction of like, yeah, I think not.
I don't know. He allowed Air Force One to be captured by Russian ultranationalists.
That's true. Yeah, that might be.
One thing about Morgan Freeman, when he plays God in that Jim Carrey movie, and it's believable, Morgan Freeman can just do anything. So he's not even allowed. He's on a whole nother level. So
oh my gosh.
We need to keep his name out of our mouths because he's so good.
Exactly.
Morgan Freeman makes a great president, but he was president in a shit movie.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So I guess that's our thoughts on really a pretty bad Oscars.
The Oscars are stupid. Will Smith's an idiot. It went sideways.
Chris Rock tried to revive his career. That didn't work out.
It worked because he's now charging like $100 a ticket.
That's right. Actually, his split. That's right. He did have a spike in sales.
That went up. And
who knew? All he had to do was put his hand on his back and lean in to take a slap in the face.
Exactly.
By the way,
Chris Rock is a great businessman.
Yeah. By the way, it's obviously spawning massive memes, but one of the best I've seen is you have to look up Will Smith smacks a youngling from Star Wars. He smacks the kid. You remember when Anakin in the third prequel goes into the temple to kill all the kids?
Yeah.
And the kid's like, "Oh, there's too many of them. What are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
So Will Smith smacks him. And Obi-Wan's watching it on a hologram over and over. He's like, I can't watch this anymore. It's pretty hysterical.
There are a lot of memes that came out of that. That's for sure.
The instant meme was the one from Men in Black that literally dropped like right after. That was a good one. Yeah. There's a website now that you can have Will Smith slap any celebrity. You just type the celebrity in the search bar. That's cool.
Wow.
People are great.
Yeah,
I liked one where it's an image of like as he's completing the slap, and it labels Will Smith as Mr. Perfect and Chris Rock as Gum.
Good fun.
It's a great way to do it. Absolutely. All right, guys. So here we go. Topic 2, and this is an interesting article that came out with the National Football League. The NFL, of course, had the Rooney Rule, which I think started in the early 1990s, I think. But now it's almost like we have a Rooney Rule 2.0. The NFL says teams must hire a minority or female offensive coach. The NFL, for the 2022 season, is requiring all of its teams to hire a minority or female offensive assistant coach for the 2022 season at a time when criticism is high over the diversity of its top ranks. And the league also says its Rooney Rule, requiring every team to interview at least 2 external minority candidates for opening head coaching positions, will expand to provide more opportunities for women to secure front office roles. So they formed this diversity committee to review its hiring policies and practices. And some of the members of the committee include one former general manager of the Houston Texans, an attorney general, a CEO and founder of the McDonald's Corporation, believe it or not. Money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And another founder and owner, a woman, by the name of Pamela Carlton. So this is interesting because, the NFL, they always like to be involved in the off season. There's always an agenda with the NFL.
Absolutely.
This is interesting, though, that it has come under some scrutiny. Obviously, Brian Flores being the prime example of that. John, what are your thoughts on this? This is kind of like I said, Rooney Rule 2.0, but what do you think?
It's sticky because the word "must" is very important in this, because this is they're not doing it like they did the Rooney Rule in the beginning, where it was almost suggesting.
Yeah.
In the beginning,
or encouraged to.
Encouraged to do, or you had it. It just had to be on paper. So all you did is you just brought in, your top assistant, who happened to be a minority, interviewed him, checked it off, we can move on. This one holds a little more weight because they have to do it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you're right. The word "must" is massive because now it's a requirement. They have to have.
Yes.
And that's that. I think I've always balked at musts and haves because it's like you have to rise through the ranks. I get it. And I am not saying that women shouldn't be involved in the NFL. I think it's been great to see women be involved either on the coaching ranks. Heck, we've even had a woman referee in the Super Bowl, for crying out loud. So they're more than capable of doing the job and have done a fantastic job at this high level. The idea, though, that the league says must and have at a time where they have not must and have this with the Rooney Rule allows me to kind of take a step back and go, I'm not so sure they're really going to follow through on this. That's my big issue with it.
This is Matt's episode of Heat.
Yeah.
You've got heat with the NFL's Rooney Rule.
I have heat with the NFL and the fact that they don't follow through with exactly what they're supposed to say. Now, if they change my mind, that's great. I want that to be done, and I want that to be I want that in the pulse and the bloodline of the NFL. Absolutely.
I 100% agree with you that I don't feel like they're going to do a good job of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I like at least that they're doing something that might help.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like it will.
It's a good step in the right direction.
It is. Is it the right step? Well, only time will tell.
Yeah. With
the NFL, but are they? What is their agenda? That's my biggest thing. The NFL always has.
Yeah, there's always
a closet agenda. Always.
Yeah. Steve, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think?
Let's start first. I think we can all agree the original Rooney Rule was garbage.
Oh yeah.
100%. Yes.
When you're talking about hiring a head coach of a football team, of which there are now only 32. This isn't like a regular job where you can get an influx of resumes of people you don't know and you have to interview them, and you can kind of say, oh, well, we've got a certain number of minority candidates. We can make sure to interview them as well. A head coach of a football team, a lot of times you pretty much know who you want. Mm-hmm. If Bill Walsh suddenly becomes available and he's willing to interview with you, unless he absolutely bombs the interview, you goddamn know you're hiring Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's just a charade to this is exactly what happened to Brian Flores.
Flores, absolutely.
Right? Who, by all accounts, I don't think he should have been let go from his Dolphins job to begin with.
Not at all.
I totally agree with you. Absolutely.
I mean, he finished, 9-8 with that slop of a roster they have down there?
And that team was they were intentional. I don't know what you guys think. They were intentionally tanking part of I think one of the, his first season. They were intentionally losing, and they were getting blown out. And it's come on. you're an NFL franchise. You got to like put a great product out there on the field.
He did a great job of taking.
He's done a remarkable job. Absolutely.
But when you have what I'll call CEO type level jobs, right? You know who your prime candidate is.
Because technically there only is a very small group that can do what you're asking.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
isn't just one thing. It's 950,000 things.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
I think, and I think you did a little bit of a disservice with the way you read that. Because I often bristle whenever you have a job requirement or something akin to that says you must hire someone from a particular group of people, whether it be racial, gender, religion, whatever. I typically am not a fan of that, just because that's exclusionary on whatever ground you want to get. But in this case, the league is not saying, well, one of the coaches you have to hire has to be whatever. They are actually adding a position. They are creating 32 new positions.
That's huge.
One for each team.
Yeah, that's huge.
Which will be filled by a minority or female, whatever you want to say, candidate. Which the when you want to, the problem here they're trying to solve is the makeup of the league racially is like upside down with respect to who the coaches are.
Absolutely.
And so they feel like there's a disparity there, and maybe it should be more reflective of the league as a whole.
I would agree with that, yeah.
But to get where you want to get, I don't think something like the original Rooney Rule fixes that, because as we said, it's a farce. You have to have a long-term plan to get there. And I think this helps because now you are increasing the potential pool of candidates down the road.
Absolutely.
Who can be hired. And it's offensive because that's everybody's hiring offensive coaches. So that's why it's that's why it's got to be on the offensive side of the ball.
It's got to be on the offensive side of the ball.
29, we're going to have 2 defensive coaches and 175 offensive coaches. This is the way the NFL's going. You're going to have a coordinator, and I got to get him a cup of coffee, and that's going to be it. Hey guys, run! Because that's defense.
It's such a great point, Steve. It's such a great point what you just said, because really, if you're introducing new blood into the league, it's only going to better the league, really, at the end of the day. And I am, like I said, I'm all in favor of that.
But you're both right, because yes, they're doing something that is going to be long-term and looks like it's going to be great.
Yeah.
At that point, I don't trust the NFL to wash my shoes. Yeah. Don't do anything right. That's
but I am hoping though that this works. I am really, really hoping it works, because I want to see it succeed.
There's planning and there's execution.
Yes.
Yep.
And I think the planning is now to Rooney Rule 2.0 as a planning strategy is miles better than Rooney Rule 1.0.
Well, Rooney Rule 1.0, yeah.
But you're right. I agree with you guys. The execution of it is what remains to be seen. And the NFL does not have a good track record in that regard.
Literally, Rooney Rule was just a checklist, and you can't do that. That was really, really poor. Absolutely. And in terms of its planning and its execution, really, to be honest with you, because it was treated as if it was a checklist, and you're not going to do that. Come on.
You're absolutely right. That is business 101. When you are an advisor to an owner in anything, the first thing you do is create a checklist to see if you're meeting the requirements. That's what the Rooney Rule basically was.
Yeah.
The way I'd feel more confident about this new rule is if Roger Goodell stepped down. If you gave me a commissioner that I actually believed could do anything, I'd feel much better about this rule. Him being in charge, I'm suspect.
Yeah.
I'm just suspect of it.
Yeah.
I hope it works.
I hope it works.
I hope we see such change in all sports leagues. I hope we see it in everything, in movies and TV. I want to see, because we are a nation of a bunch of people. We need to have more inclusion that way.
Absolutely. And you just have the ability to draw people that will then think outside the box even more. on how to run offensive plays, how to run defensive plays, how to coach players better, all that kind of stuff. I think that's what we're all about here. You know, that kind of thing. Go ahead, Steve. What are you going to say?
I just said nobody wants to play defense, but
that's why there's only going to be 2 coordinators.
Yeah, right. not to go off on a tangent, but when I was contemplating this, a separate sort of unrelated question popped into my head, which was, and this is not just NFL, but I feel like it falls on a lot of sports. Do you notice, like, head coaches, oftentimes your best players in the league don't really make good coaches.
Yeah.
And the best coaches come from, like, backup quarterbacks or fourth line guys, like,
because they see the plays and they memorize
well,
it.
that's, I mean, that, you know, Craig Berube won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, Craig Berube as a player is not the type of guy you would have thought, yeah, he's going to be a great leader of men and get guys.
So one guy only going to see the ice 8 minutes. He's going to fight somebody.
Well, see, that's I think what happens is he's only on the ice 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I bet you learn a lot sitting on the bench for 52 minutes again.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I bet you learn a lot as a backup quarterback or a backup lineman or whatever position you are. I bet you learn a lot standing on the sideline, kind of seeing what's going on. And
absolutely.
And I wonder if that plays a factor in how you get a good coach. I mean, Wayne Gretzky tried coaching and he was terrible.
Doug Peterson.
He's the greatest player ever. And
that too.
Yeah, you're right. Doug Peterson was a backup quarterback and ended up doing a good job.
Yeah. Won a Super Bowl with the Eagles.
I think always look. So why are there a ton of goalies that were coaches? Why are there a ton of catchers in baseball that become managers? Like, why it's funny. That's something to, like, really pull apart in, like, of the greatest coaches, where did they come from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I'll have to do a little research on that.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
It's just
but I know in every sport I ever played in, I sucked at coaching and I sucked at playing. So I don't know how any of that would have worked out.
Well, I was just going to ask, why don't we spin that really quickly, Steve? I mean, you've played roller hockey for years, and now you're a defensive coach. What was that like? You know, from playing, because I know you've played defense for so long. How was it like to transition and into the coaching ranks? You know, you're coaching your son. What was your, what do you
I don't. He plays forward, so I don't actually directly coach him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's built for a winger. He's not he. Let's just say if he gets beat, he doesn't have the speed to get back and cover. But he does a good job where he fits.
He does, yeah.
But as a defensive coach, the transition, all I can do is really take my experience and convey that from what I see on the ice. When a kid makes a play and they come back and I see something that they did that I feel like I can correct, I'll explain it to them. Now, my philosophy is I'll always kind of emphasize the positives. So the first thing is, I give them a fist bump when they come off the ice and say, great job on whatever that was.
Yeah.
And I'll pull them aside, get out the board, be like, all right, next time this happens, you do this. Mm-hmm. From that aspect, it's
huge,
seamless. You got the knowledge, you apply it.
You gotta apply it.
I don't know why star players don't seem to make great coaches, and maybe it's just they've played so long they're burnt out. They're too used to being able to do their own thing. They're so good. They're so far ahead talent wise that they don't need the coaching sort of focus.
I don't even understand that. Deion Sanders is one that's making some waves, being a player that is. Yeah, he's making some waves because I think he's a state coach.
But he's an exception. I mean, to the general rule.
Oh yeah.
But there are two different coaches. You have either the master motivator, where you can motivate talent to do things, or you have the X and O guy that can. So it even breaks even further when we're going to talk about this. How it goes into the is he a Bruce Bochy or is he a Joe Torre? But how good was Joe Torre when he played? How good was Bochy when he played? It's you keep
It'll be interesting, yeah. But yeah, our hope is really
an amazing topic for
it really is. Yeah, our hope is that this works, and I think it will.
I think so.
I think it will.
If it's executed.
If it's executed.
If it's executed, and if Roger Goodell steps down.
I'm all for Roger Goodell stepping down. I don't care if Roger Goodell just falls down. I could care less. I don't like him at all.
All right, guys. So here we are, topic 3, and hey, we have baseball. Baseball is back, of course, and the Phillies return. By the time this episode drops this week, opening day will be 2 days later on Friday, April 8th, against the Philadelphia Athletics, or Oakland Athletics, I should say. That's kind of exciting, John. What do you think about that? That's really cool.
I'm a big Athletics fan.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be great to see them back in and playing. It's a full 162, so that should be a lot of fun. And the Phillies have a lot of buzz. I mean, they've been hitting the ball pretty well in spring training. But I wanted to kind of give a temperature take, basically, of everybody here. Guys,
I'm sorry, I was just thinking of a Will Smith joke in response to the Phillies hitting things.
Love it. So I'll go Steve first. Steve,
no.
Point to you. Oh, I'm just going to go to you anyway. How many wins do you think the Phillies are going to have for the entire season? Do you think they're a playoff team? And if so, how far do you think they're going to go? So, number of wins. How many wins do you think they're going to have this year?
I believe the lineup additions they've made this year should, and the bullpen can't possibly be any worse than it was last year when they blew 30 whatever games.
Oh, God, on wood for that. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this lineup gets them, I don't know, a 4 to 5 more wins than they would have had last year. So what does that put them at? 87?
86, 87? Yeah. Okay.
So with that record, I would think that would get them in at least a wild card spot.
Mm-hmm. I would think so. Mm-hmm. That's what they expanded. They have the extra wild card.
Right.
Yep.
How far they get, I think, is really going to depend on their pitching. And that's still the weak point from my perspective. And you've got the Braves, who some people may think have even gotten better by getting rid of Freddie Freeman and bringing in somebody else to play first base.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers have acquired Craig Kimbrell, and the NL is going to be tough. So if their pitching can get to where it ought to be with if Zach Wheeler pitches like he did last year, if Aaron Nola pitches more competently and stops giving up as many home runs as he did last year, if you can actually get some health out of Zach Eflin, if Ranger Suarez can be even 80% of what he was last year, I think they'll have a decent chance to make some noise. I don't see them as winning a World Series. But
okay. It would almost like you would have to break right, sounds like, for you. If the matchups were right, they could probably make a run. Safe to say?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. John, what do you think? Number of wins?
I'm with Steve, like 87, 88.
Okay.
I think they definitely make the playoffs. I think it's a one and done. They'll get there. They'll take a look. They still got a ways to go pitching, like Steve was saying. The bats are better. Have better bats. The DH helps a little bit too, because you can sub out Harper for 2 or 3 days where he's only focusing on swinging if he's in a slump, which might get him back in the lineup quicker. But you didn't have that without the DH. That's the one thing I was doing some research on. Guys in the 80s and 90s talking about why they love to play in the AL is they could forget about fielding for a little while and just kind of get up there and hack it. And then, I kind of got my groove back a little quicker than I would have in the NL, because you can't sit Bryce Harper. If he's 0 for 4 for 3 games in a row, you can't sit him, because who the hell is going to play right field at the quality that he's playing? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So the DH does help a little, where he can get bats instead of just sitting.
I think
about JT, I feel the same thing about.
Yeah, JT was the one I was thinking most of. You can get him out from behind the plate on more days.
There you go.
Absolutely. And he has some kind of work at first base, where if you could get him, you could get him a ton of at bats where he's not wasting his knees early in the season. That might help him just his overall health.
Yeah.
In batting later, so the DH does do a ton of good things for this team.
Yeah, I was just going to say this kind of harkens back to what we were talking about a few weeks ago with the MLB coming back, and it was like you guys were. Yeah, I know Steve was leading the charge. DH is great for the NL. And I'm like, I don't really. But now it's like with the additions they've made, it's like, yeah, this really is a good thing.
Really good for the Phillies.
Yeah, it's
really a good thing for the Phillies.
Because it's really good for the Phillies.
Yeah, it really is, no doubt. I think I'm with you guys. I see this team as like 87, 88 wins. I think they've got enough firepower, enough offensive, the talent up and down the board. Really, if you look at it from the top 5 or 6 in this lineup, are you kidding me? Guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark in Citizens Bank. I mean,
and are selective about it. They're not.
And are selective.
They're not like Ryan Howard level strikeouts. They're
they are. Every single one of them is selective, which is great. I absolutely love it, and I think that's gonna alleviate so much like pressure on us to hit the ball. Well, I was looking back. Someone I think.
Well, I don't have to hit the ball, but I don't know about you.
I don't have to either.
Exactly.
I don't know if I can hit it out of the infield anyway.
Exactly. Here's the thing, though. I'm looking like it was so funny. I saw on a Facebook feed. Someone had posted like what the 2017 opening day roster was, and it was a joke. It was absolutely hilarious. Nice. Odubel was batting third. Maikel Franco was batting fourth. Jeremy Hellickson was your starting pitcher. Freddie Galvis was batting eighth. It was a disaster. It was like, oh my God.
No way. Oh, don't forget, we also had the play of the year in spring training.
That's right, with a double play.
By Didi off the pitcher, Didi to Gene.
To Gene.
We're not even talking about Didi or Gene yet. Like,
I mean, it's great.
What if Didi gets hot?
You never know. I mean, he's due for a bounce back. He's due.
Did not have a good season last year.
He did not.
I read an article. He was not healthy.
Yeah, he was not.
He had health problems all year.
A lot of issues. Yeah.
He sounds like he's in better shape this season.
Would be, that just itself bringing him having a great shortstop, and it just bring. I think he was batting like 216 for most of the season. You just bring that up to 260, you're fine. Like,
if you're building up to 250, you're good. Yeah,
that's way better.
So here's the thing. I'm thinking 88 wins. I think they are a wild card team. Now it's the question of who do they face. Because if they face the Dodgers, I agree with you, John. They're done.
Yeah, I think it's over. I think they're one and done. Yeah,
it's not even close. If it breaks right, though, they've got a shot to get into that divisional round, and from there, who knows? But I don't think they're going to the World Series.
If it breaks right, and the 5 of those guys are hitting at the level we know they can hit. They might win a couple games 11-10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it would be at least they'd be winning. They could, but it's a wait and see because they've never this lineup has never been together. We added 2 new guys to the meat of the lineup.
Yeah. And there's been some change really in terms of spring training. One guy, Bryson Stott, has really destroyed the baseball and is likely going to be your starting third baseman as opposed to Alec Boehm, who has been basically, like, I think I saw his stats was 2 for 21.
Yeah, but that's how that works out in
spring training. Really does, yeah. I've always said this baseball. If you have a young guy, and I'm not talking like A-level prospect, like the prospects, but if you have a young guy that is hitting the ball well in spring training, they normally don't stay. No. Yeah.
So it's a wait and see with him.
Yeah.
I hope he's our everyday third baseman. He's hitting the cover off the ball.
Yeah, you're talking Bryson Stott. Yeah.
But I don't.
It's gonna be interesting.
I don't think you can
stamp on him and be like he's our everyday.
Yeah, he's our third baseman for the future.
You cannot justify at this point.
Yeah.
Keeping Alec Boehm at third base over Bryson Stott.
No, you have to take the hot hand.
No question.
You also have to be willing to jump back if needed.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Oh sure. Yeah, and that I think it's going to be a little unsettled there on the left side of the infield, no question. Especially if Stott starts to tail off a little bit, and then you have Boehm starting to hit a little bit more in AAA.
We really didn't have that last year, so that's not.
Yeah.
That's a plus factor.
It is.
It is. We have someone that is there and reliable because that was remember first and third we didn't have most of the year. It was very mixed matchy because when Reese went out and we didn't, Yeah,
all of a sudden you have to have a Brad Miller come in.
We had a shortstop and a second baseman and a catcher. We didn't really have an infield. It's guys over there.
Now, I'm thinking, too, their defense, okay, they were last in the league. They were terrible.
Yeah, they were bad.
Awful in defense. They've got to be better, obviously, if they're going to make a move in this division. I still think they're probably, if you're looking at the division top to bottom, Mets have really, although I did hear that DeGrom is out 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I hate the Mets, so I don't know.
So it's like, okay, and Scherzer's 37. He's not the Max Scherzer down in Washington. So they put all the money in pitching.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't see them as really much of a factor. I think we're better than they are. Really, it's the Braves. Are we better than Atlanta right now? And I don't see it as of yet. I think Atlanta still wins the division because of Matt Olson. I think Matt Olson's addition is huge for them. And it's like they're going to have Acuna back coming off of the torn ACL of last year. And they've got, the Ozzy Albies. And they've got, they're up and down. It's unbelievable. That lineup is terrific. But it's going to be interesting to see how we kind of fit in that mix. I don't see the Marlins or the Nationals. Maybe Miami makes a bit of a run. Maybe.
They always give us trouble for whatever.
They always give us trouble, but...
It's that ballpark.
I think so. It's because no one's down there.
Ballpark at all. It's huge.
Nobody's down there to watch them. That's the thing. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
All those ballparks were designed because of Ryan Howard. We're going to stop them. We'll just make them huge.
So let's talk a little to how we see the lineup unfold here, in the graphics, John. What are you thinking in terms of, if you're thinking outfield and infield, who do you see as kind of like left, center, right, and out in the outfield and then the infield? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Give me for names that the Matt center fielder, Verling, I think that's
Adam Verling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam, Matt, whatever his name is. He's
whatever. Yeah.
He's going to start in the center. Will you have a double spelling him every once in a while?
Yeah. Oh, it's Matt Verling. I'm sorry. It's Matt Verling.
So he'll be in center, and then you got that Kyle kid that we just got, Schwarber or whatever his name is. He's going to be your left fielder, I think.
Okay.
I can't even say half these guys' names. Bryce, of course, is in right. I think Didi's short.
Okay.
Gene, absolutely.
Gene's the second.
Mm-hmm. Those guys.
Yeah.
We go with Reese at first, JT at
behind the plate.
Yeah, I think that I hope that young kid that's trying out at catcher, I hope he makes it just to back him up because I hear good things about him.
Yeah.
And then third baseman's going to be that Stott kid. Yeah. Okay. And then hopefully they'll put a good bench together, and I think they look.
Probably have Castellanos as
DH.
Yeah, your DH is
Castellanos.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
Question on him is how many home runs he will hit during apologies.
Steve, what are your if you had to do the same thing, what would be your lineup?
I think
you're going left to right.
It's not much different than John's.
Okay.
Well, just give the differences then.
Schwarber and Castellanos can alternate in left.
Okay.
Vierling or maybe even Mickey Moniak. Center.
He's
been hitting well.
He's been hitting pretty well. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope it works out as a former #1 overall pick. It would be nice to have that finally show up.
No doubt.
But other than that, you can't replace Bryce
right, so yeah.
or Didi or Gene or Reese or JT.
Yeah.
You can move them around the lineup all you want, but I think the positions are pretty much set. It's mostly a no-brainer. Now I know you're gonna put Odubel in center and left and right field.
Yeah, you love Odubel.
No, I want him cut from the team. For God's sake.
No.
Again.
I can't wait till July 3rd. Grand Slam home run when we're down 10-0. He's Babe Ruth.
Oh my gosh. For me, it's probably. I would probably put Castellanos in left, like with Johnny, and then I probably would be either Vierling or Moniak in center. I could be happy with either one of those two. Bryce, of course, in right, and then you've got. Stott's going to start in third. I'm convinced of that. He's won the job as far as I'm concerned. With you have Didi and Segura in the middle part of that infield, which I like. Reese at first. I could also see Schwarber at first base, and then JT, of course, catching. And then your DHs could be either you've got it really depends. It could be Bryce. It could be JT. It could be Castellanos. It could be Schwarber. It could be Rhys Hoskins, for crying out loud. It could be any one of those 5 guys.
Right in that DH spot.
Yeah. So it's a great mix and match, and I'm convinced it's like I hated the fact that the NL was pitcher only and pitcher batting, but adding the DH has really been. When you start to think about it, it was like I think the Phillies kind of knew this was going to happen, and they were just waiting for the right time to get that DH guy. Who can we put in there? We gotta load up offensively, and then we can move, mix and match, and put people in that position. So I'm convinced that Steve, you won me over, for crying out loud.
And that's
which is great. I love it.
That's what Girardi does best.
Yeah.
He was great when he was with the Yankees with that.
Yep.
Flipping guys out, moving them here, putting them there, using that DH as something to give a rest.
Yeah.
Which is good for everybody.
It really is. Yeah. And the talent that they've got, it's like you can definitely tell they're building towards something, and it's like it's just a matter of how well they're starting and their relievers. It's their pitching. It all comes down to pitching. And do we have the arms available enough? And John, you made the right point before we went on with this topic. It really comes down to who's throwing the gas in August and September, when it really matters the most, where you need those saves. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how they do. All right, guys, topic 4. And as we've done in the past few weeks, we're closing in on the end of our Two Noobs Tournament. This is awesome. I love it. We've had the bag chip bracket. We've had the best candy bar bracket. We even had the best Girl Scout cookie bracket. And now, John, it's on you, man. What is this bracket, my brother?
The pressure. This is this is a Google search. So just remember, I did it. No, there was no crack team. We didn't argue about this. I didn't try all these products.
Go for it.
Is the soda bracket.
Ooh,
okay. Nice. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
So we have a play-in game because Google is the biggest piece of garbage ever. So the play-in game is going to be the Rough and Tumble Mug Root Beer versus the A&W Root Beer, because in the list of 8, it literally just listed root beer. And everybody else is an actual product.
Wow. So the mug is the 9.
The mug is the 5. Or
it's
a
plan.
I don't know.
It sounds to me like he just put them in there.
I don't drink a lot of root beer, so
well, I do.
I drink a ton, and usually off-brand.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so it's
Appellation
Mug or A&W, right?
I'm gonna go A&W because I haven't had mug in like 10 years. So I'm just voting for A because that's the only root beer I would have if I.
Okay. Steve, what do you think there, bud?
I'm a little sad you don't have Barks in there, but I know you got to choose. I know. It's fine. It's fine.
What are you thinking?
I think I prefer mug over A&W.
Oh man. Okay, so it comes down
as evidenced by the appearance of the mug can.
The best can.
They have the best can. That's true. That is true.
But.
Oh, wait a minute.
Do we have another root beer?
See, this is what you don't get when you stick to those kind of commercial brands.
Yeah.
The best label
Wapner root beer
belongs to the Judge Wapner root beer.
That's right.
That's awesome.
That's right. Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
All right, so it comes down to me. So it's like you've got mug with the great can design, no question about it. But A&W, you can put that in a root beer float, and A&W pulls it out.
Oh, you can put mug in a root beer float too, man. What's wrong with you?
A&W. It's an A&W root beer float. Come on, they've had that for years. A&W.
They are now the 8th seed.
There you go.
No love for Stewart's either? IBC?
This is literally a crackpot list. So let's start with the 3-6.
Okay.
Okay.
You're lucky I can't come over there and slap you, John.
Yes. I don't have my chin pad on. I'm not smiling. I'm not leaning into it.
There you go.
So 3-6.
Okay.
Is the 3 seed Mountain Dew, Steve, taking on the 6 seed Dr. Pepper, which, by the way, are my 2 favorite sodas of the whole thing.
Wow. Oh, man.
They're the only 2 I drink.
All right. I can't stand Mountain Dew, so I'm going Dr. Pepper.
Oh, okay.
Dr.
The 6
Pepper
seed
moves on.
moving on. All right.
Dr. Pepper's I like what is it, 23 flavors or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And TikTok did a whole thing on them where if you pour 1 cup of root beer and 2 cups of cola, it tastes just like root beer and you don't have to, or it tastes like Dr. Pepper and you don't need to spend it on the name brand.
I'll have to try that next time I'm at one of those restaurant vending machines where it's got a touch screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 1 part root beer to 2 parts cola. Is that
Yes.
one?
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
I can say there's a Dr. Pepper, what is it, vanilla?
Yeah.
Or cream. Dr. Pepper. It's either Dr. Pepper cream or Dr. Pepper vanilla, and it tastes just like Dr. Pepper. So I don't know what the difference is.
I know it. All right, so we're going to 4, 5 seed.
Yep. Okay.
Traditional from when, back in the day when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
7 Up at the 4 seed.
Okay.
Sprite at the 5 seed.
Man, Sean, that's hard. Yeah, I'm not sure. If I had to,
I didn't even. That's why they're the 4, 5.
they are.
I'm going to wait until Matt votes, but I actually have a definitive answer.
I think I'm going to have to go with 7 Up.
Oh, nice.
I think it's very close, but
7 Up.
yeah, I'm going to have to go 7 Up on that one.
I can say good things about both of them.
I can't turn down either one of them down,
Yeah,
but I think 7 Up just ekes it out just a teensy bit, just a little bit. I think it's hard. Yeah,
I've always preferred Sprite. And I'm not sure why.
Okay.
7 Up, the consistency of 7 Up to me, I think, was a little too syrupy.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Sprite
no
complaint about that. Yep.
Sprite was a lot smoother to me.
Yep. Okay.
But I will respect the 7 Up.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So let's go 1-8 for Steve.
Ooh.
Coca-Cola, the number 1 seed.
Versus
The
the
absolute number 1 seed by far. Like going up against the A&W
W.
that you didn't vote in.
Oh yeah, that's So because I root beer is my favorite soda to drink. If a restaurant has root beer, I will usually ask for that over anything else. Coke, if it's fountain Coke, to me is better than like in the can or in a bottle.
Okay.
Agree with you.
I don't know why that is. It's a mystery to me. Why?
You know what it is? The syrup lingers in the fountain, whereas in a can, it's just there. It doesn't really linger. Yeah, that kind of deal. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
So it's tough. Again, I would always prefer root beer, but you guys went A&W on me.
Yes.
I will advance the Coca-Cola.
The Coca-Cola 1 seed.
Coke moves on.
All
All right,
right.
Matt.
Okay.
2-7. This should be the 2 seed should move on here, but it's got a worthy competitor here
Okay.
because everybody knows it when you're not feeling too well.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
got the number 7 seed, the Canada Dry Ginger Ale.
Oh, okay. Versus the 2 seed
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Oh, come on. You needed to ask that question?
Well, yeah. I mean, okay.
I was
Canada
totally
Dry.
going in thinking that everybody knew what it was.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Canada Dry, right? I mean, yeah, that is a terrific soda to have when you're not feeling well. Like that is an absolute go-to. But who are we kidding? Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly. So
Pepsi moves on. Yeah. Worthy contender for Canada Dry, but I mean, when you're going up against Pepsi, not even close.
They were the 7 seed.
Yeah.
I totally disagree.
They should have been the 8th seed, but
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
but root beer kind of when you don't put a specific.
Yeah, how the hell? I mean, first of all, let's. They didn't even pick a brand for root beer, which may explain its position. But there's no way any root beer, unless it's like that dollar store shit, tastes like cough syrup, should lose to Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Come on.
It's probably also better
Exactly.
than anybody. any brand of root beer is probably better than Buchanan Dry. Okay, so we are now. Let's go over to the. You pick that. So it's.
Oh, right before you go into the second round. So I should have done this with the Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
I was in a Weiss, W-E-I-S supermarket.
No, well.
Where the stores have their own kind of generic soda names, and their generic Mountain Dew was called Mountain Showers.
Down here we have Mountain Lightning. Actually, I do like walking through the soda aisle at the grocery store every once in a while to see the off-brand names because they're great.
Well, I think it was Weiss also had as the Dr. Pepper substitute was Dr. Bob's. I'd like to meet Dr. Bob.
That's great. All right, Johnny, what do you got here? Semifinals?
We're doing Pepsi versus Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Steve?
That's me?
Yep.
Whew.
I'm hoping you guys saved like one of my favorite drinks.
No, don't try to influence me here. This is another tough one because I do like me some Dr. Pepper, but Pepsi is a staple. For the longest time, it was all my sister-in-law would ever drink.
Oh my gosh! Oh jeez!
Like I don't even think she drank water. I think it was
like
Pepsi.
IV it to her veins. Like what's going on there?
When I was younger, I was a huge. I never drank Coca-Cola. I was a Pepsi drinker.
I think I remember that now.
Yeah,
you always rolled into hockey with a Pepsi.
Pepsi for Wild Cherry Pepsi. Like I was. Yep. But when I was younger, that's all I drank.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so I understand that.
Pepsi's another one where I feel like it's better out of the fountain than it is in the can.
Sure is, yeah, out of a can. Yeah.
Oh man, this one's really tough.
All right, so we got Coke 7-Up, Matt.
Well, I didn't pick one.
Oh, I thought you did.
Now you're still thinking about it. Yeah.
No, I'm stalling.
For Pepsi, so we can move on.
I'm stalling here. What do you want?
All right, what do you think?
Oh man. All right, we'll go Pepsi. I think I would
go Pepsi. Wow.
If you gave me a choice between the two, I probably would pick Pepsi.
All right. So yeah, we got Coke 7-Up.
Yeah, Coke 7-Up.
Coke 7-Up 1-4.
Wonderful house, Matt. And I would you like a soda? And you're like, yeah, I really do. I got 7-Up. I got Coke. Which one are you taking?
Well, it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's going with Coke, number 1. Yeah, it's the 1 seed. So
this is hilarious.
This is our first 1-2 matchup in the bracket.
This was the big bracket because I normally the top level was gonna.
Yeah.
Well, in all honesty, part of my picking of Pepsi was I was hoping Matt would pick Coke so we could force a Pepsi versus Coke conversation.
Oh yeah, it was coming.
I was going for too. That was my.
It was coming. All right, John. So, what do we got? John?
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke or Pepsi? What are you thinking, man?
I'm going to have to go with my childhood and go with Pepsi.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Steve? What are you thinking?
Whew. I wish I had samples of both to taste right now.
See? Yeah.
You know what? I have always preferred Pepsi. The Coke's flavor, I like both of them. I can drink both of them, no problem. Coke's flavor to me is a little more, I don't know if it's bitter.
Okay.
Or Pepsi to me was always sweeter.
Yeah.
Than Coke was. Coke just, so I'll go with Pepsi.
It's really hard for me, the 1-2, because I could go either way. I love me some Coke Zero. I've had that. That's awesome. I've had the regular Coke as well. I've had the Pepsi. I've even had the Pepsi Throwback, and that was, whoa, you want to talk about loaded sugar. Good grief. That was unbelievable.
Pepsi with the cane sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, yeah. But I think when I think back to my childhood, I'm with Johnny. I had more Pepsi than I did Coke, and for that reason alone, I'm enjoying with. I'm right alongside you.
Landslide.
It's a landslide Pepsi. Yeah, it's a unanimous win. Yeah.
Wow.
Now we got to break right into the final four.
The final four. I guess this is to determine the best ever snack. I guess this is probably it, John, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We just made this thing up because of March Madness.
It's great. I love it because it's like you've got Pepsi going against the Girl Scout cookie shortbread, and in the other bracket you've got Cheetos going against Twix. So this is really an amazing thing. Like, which would you prefer, kind of thing?
And it's going to be the three of us voting. So we'll start with Pepsi shortbread. Steve, lead us off.
Powerhouse wins. Powerhouse conference here takes it.
Pepsi, yeah.
It's 107-3. Right?
Yeah, shortbread is your Cinderella coming out of some cupcake bracket. Conference tourney champion going up against the powerhouse.
Yeah.
Pepsi wins.
Pepsi wins. Okay. John, what are you thinking?
I'm going Pepsi.
You're going Pepsi? Okay. Yeah, I'm probably the same deal. Pepsi on that. And then, of course, this one I think is going to be interesting. This is your Duke North Carolina matchup here.
This is
Cheetos versus Twix. Now, this is very interesting. Steve, what are your thoughts on this, man? Cheetos or Twix? Yeah.
The problem with this is they're so different.
They are. Yes.
You know, one's a sugary treat and the other one is like a snack for, whenever.
We gave so much love to Cheetos. Yeah. Deservedly so.
And I just had the mac and cheese last night, man.
He was preparing.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with my sweet tooth here, though. I'm voting for Twix.
Whoa. Okay. All right, John. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go Twix. It's one of my go-tos if I have a snack. I prefer to have it over Cheetos.
I'm stunned. I was Cheetos. Because of all of the love that we have with the different varieties of the chips, and everything there, that's what I went with Cheetos.
Nobody's going to slap you
for that. Champion to be crying out loud. But they were upset. I love it. Okay, so now for the national title, it's Pepsi versus Twix, guys. What are you thinking, John? What are you thinking, man?
Pepsi. Absolutely.
Pepsi. Okay.
I'd rather have a Pepsi than a Twix. It's snack food, and I have one choice. And it comes down to those two. I don't want the chocolate and I like it, but just give me a Pepsi. It gets enough sugar and I'm fine.
Love it.
I don't need to play.
Okay.
I don't need to play around with it.
Nice. Okay. Steve?
I'm thirsty. I need to. I don't want my immediate thirst to impact my decision. The trouble with picking, if you're offered one or the other, the trouble with picking Twix is I feel like I would need to wash it down with something.
Yes.
Whereas if I'm just drinking Pepsi, that totally goes out the window.
Yeah, you don't need a Pepsi to wash down.
Right. You do. Right.
You don't need a Twix to wash down your Pepsi.
Exactly.
Ooh. All right, but
Water.
In the interest of making Matt's vote important, I will vote for Twix. So that Matt has to be a man and break this tie.
Pepsi, 100%. It's Pepsi.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
I was like, oh man, Twix won.
No, it's Pepsi. I mean, it's 100%. I go back to the nostalgia, the nostalgia feel, and I love Twix. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going with Pepsi. I'm with Johnny on that one.
Right.
It's great. What a tournament! What an absolute wonderful tournament. This was great, John. I give you a lot of props on that, bud. That was awesome. Yeah, it was great. So we'll have to
everything except putting root beer in the 8th seat.
Yeah, that was shocking.
That's Google's fault.
Way to pass the buck there.
I passed the buck the entire tournament. If I had to do this, we'd be doing it next March because I would actually have to think of some of these things and eat some of these things.
But we do have a tournament coming up down the road a little bit, obviously. With best Philadelphia athlete ever. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, we'll see.
We'll do another snack one.
We'll do another snack one.
Yeah, so we'll have. Oh yeah, we got. You know what we got to do? I was thinking about this the other day. Breakfast cereal.
Oh yeah.
You got to do one with breakfast cereal.
There you go. Top 16. Yeah.
You could do tasty cakes in one bracket. Maybe host in the other bracket. Do cereal in one bracket, and then maybe Maybe late night snack will be in the other one. It'll be like, random things that you would eat late at night.
Yeah.
My wife was told at the supermarket, because I love these, I think they're Drake's fudge dipped devil dogs.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And she saw the guy stacking them one day at Giant, and apparently he told her, like, I'm the only one who buys them or something. Which is sad, because that means that eventually they'll go off the market. So I encourage all listeners out there to go out and buy fudge dipped devil dogs.
There you go.
Maybe they'll make John's next snack bracket.
Yes, Economics 101. You need to go out and buy it so they keep it around.
Exactly.
They'll steal it from you if it isn't.
I can't eat them all myself.
They just did that to me at my local beer distributor here. I love this one beer from Pennsylvania that is here. Love it. It's my favorite go-to. They put it on sale and ran it out. I can't get it now.
Amazing. Wow.
Because I was the only one buying it.
That's funny.
It's sad.
Awesome.
That happens.
Yeah. All right, well, let's close out episode 78, gents, with a great happy segment, and we're going to give all the props to Steve for this. Because I think this really doesn't need an introduction at all, but encapsulates our thoughts of what's going on.
The kids need smile. They staying on the train station for like 2 days, sleeping on the floor. It's devastating.
Tomasz Zubinski is the man inside this dinosaur costume, handing out candy to Ukrainian children at the train station in Warsaw, Poland. The father of 3 says he was helping a friend's family who needed a place to stay. But when he saw other families who had been traveling for days without food, he wanted to do more.
Sandwiches is a good idea. So my son, he's 7 years old, and our friend and Veronica, my girlfriend, start doing like 100 sandwiches, and we brought them all together to the train station.
But Tomasz says it wasn't enough, so he and his friends decided to buy $100 worth of candy and head down to the train station in costume, as a way to make the children he saw smile.
Some of them just, running, grab all candies, how much they can grab and run away. Some of them really scared to take one piece of chocolate, and they like looking at me, can I have it? I'm like, yeah, come on, take more, take the lollipops, whatever you need. There was one girl who just didn't want any candies, just hugged my leg, and just want to stand. She was like 2, maybe 3 years old. And I want to just hug the leg of the dino and stay like for 2 minutes just hugging it. It was deeply touching, seriously. I was like seriously start crying for 10 minutes. Luckily I'm in the costume, so sometimes I can cry and they don't see that.
When he went viral on TikTok, his friends set up a donation page where people can give money, candy, and other toys.
I can spend this money to buy them food, but that's gonna be like for 1 day. But I can give them smile and memories for a long time. The parents coming to me and hug me and thank you, man, you're doing this for our kids. That was also deeply touching me, because I know that if I'm gonna be in a situation like that with my kids, I would love somebody do that for my kids. That also, for just this 30 seconds, this 2 minutes, take them away from this stupid train station of sleeping on the floor and just give them hope.
He reached out to Sasha, the woman who took that viral TikTok video, to thank her, assuming she was a volunteer also helping refugees. But he learned Sasha was a refugee herself, and a mother of 2 young children bouncing from shelter to shelter. He knew he had to take them in.
I'm gonna take you up from the shelter. I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, we still have 1 free room because there's a family. I really need to help them. The girl is amazing. And so now actually the floor there where you see the windows, they're staying there.
It began as one man, a dinosaur costume, and some candy. And now, others are dressing up and visiting kids at train stations and refugee sites, continuing to spread the joy that Tomasz started.
I hope the 100 dinos gonna go from every city and do it, because the whole point is to get kids, smiles. So I don't need to be by myself. If I can, inspire people, this is also something good. Even this one moment for them could change the trauma to something positive. There need to be some positive news during this war.
I don't think there's anything else we can add other than
say that
thank God that guy exists. You know what I mean?
It's what Two Noobs is all about with the happy segment. He saw a need, he filled the need. Boom. That's what. If you can do it, do it. That's how you create humanity in a world that doesn't have a lot of it.
Yeah.
And he did it in a dinosaur costume, which is awesome.
Oh yeah,
which is great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that if you want a way to connect with the kids to, really, because it's one thing to hand out food, but it's another to kind of do it in sort of the way he's done it and kind of give them a memory, a positive memory that they can take instead of just, that.
Yeah.
And I love those inflatable dinosaur costumes. A couple of Halloweens ago, we saw a kid walking down the street with one of them. And then he took off. I'm like, where the heck is he going? And he like another one in the same exact dinosaur. And they stood facing each other like a face, like staring each other down. It was the most hysterical thing I think I've ever seen.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, I found that video. The dinosaur attracted to me initially, and I found that video. I was like, oh, we gotta
throw that in there. Yeah.
Absolutely got to give him a shout.
No doubt about that. Yeah. Yeah, it's just awesome. That's it, guys. We've hit the end. Episode 78, Two Noobs Talking. Just awesome for us to get together as always, guys, to be able to sit and chat. But of course, now we're at the end, and got to hit up on our socials. Where can people find us, John?
Shameless plug time.
Oh yeah.
Social.
Trying to slap you, Matt.
You can catch us on TikTok, Clapper, Instagram Reels, Facebook, Twitter, and that's about it for now. It's just short little videos that Steve is wonderful and cuts for us to get our words out there to our.
That would be our main YouTube channel, Two Noobs Talking Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, notify. And do us a favor on the audio side too. Leave us 5 stars on Apple and leave us 5 stars on Google. We gotta get that, get that ratings up. Come on, we put a lot of effort into this. But on the audio side, Steve, where can people find us there?
Way to browbeat our listeners, man.
Hell yeah.
We are found on Podbean, which, like an octopus, spreads us out to things like Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spectre. Circus Peanut. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Where was I? Okay, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spots and Flies. Those are some of the audio places you can find us. You can just Google our names, either spelling TWOTOO. We'll get you there.
Awesome. And of course, our show notes are twonoobstalking.wordpress.com. You can links to all of our articles that we reference or we listed there. Again, my thanks to Steve and to John for joining me in this great episode of Two Noobs Talking. On to 79, guys, next week.
Kinda hot.
Unbelievable. Until then, talk to you all guys next week. Take care.
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed. That's a great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be truly informed.